Greetings, ladies and gentle people. I'm Dwyrin, and this is Civilization 5 Brave New World, as you can plainly see in the upper right hand corner. Now, what I thought I would do today is make a little bit of a tutorial series here for this game, because a friend of mine recently informed me that he was trying to learn the game. So what he decided to do was go on settler difficulty. He says he usually plays on chieftain and or settler to kind of learn the game and figure out, how to play. And I thought, that's amazing. I have never actually played on either of those two difficulties before. So I decided to play a game on settler to see just what the game actually teaches you, and I was completely appalled. But settler is a difficulty that is not actually programmed to win, from what I can tell. It just tries to let you do anything you possibly have your little heart desiring in order for you to win. It provides no challenge, and I think a lot of the mechanics will completely escape you if you are on any of these difficulties. So here's an example of what I mean when I say that the easier difficulties kind of are just programmed to make sure that you don't have to do anything for yourself. I've just begun the game here. We're 16 turns in on Epic. Already I have found myself a population, which you might not be able to tell if you haven't played this game before, but from ruins I found myself a population, I found myself a worker, and I found myself a settler on turn 16. That's actually a little bit ridiculous. And when I start getting into how to play this game on more sane difficulties, you'll understand what that enormous advantage of having a worker and a settler before turn 20 even actually means for how quickly your game actually takes off and gives you a boost over the AI. Alright, so here's the one last thing that I want to show you about the easier difficulties. If this doesn't, if these things that I've mentioned so far don't turn you off of the easier difficulties, and I don't think anything will. So we're now in turn 28, not many turns have passed. I found something else that gave me yet another worker. So at this point we are turn 28. I have not angered anybody, I haven't really had contact with anybody. I have just gone around and explored, and in exploring I have found not just one, but I have found two workers for each of my cities. I found another population, which puts the settler that I used to settle my second city at 2 population, which is pretty good. I want to point out that at this point I have not worked any of my luxury resources, which we will be talking about later. Just use this as a reference to what we'll be talking about later, because those luxury resources aren't worked yet. However, I do have 12 happiness in my empire at the moment. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is this guy. You can't really see him right now because I do not have writing for embassies, which we will talk about it later on as well. But you can see here there's this border that represents there's an AI down here. And if I hover over him, thanks to the UI that I have installed, then I can see that he currently has 2 technologies research. Now I have 3 technologies research. I don't think I got any out of a ruin. That was just from choosing technologies manually, right? You start off with 1, I've researched 2 others. In that time he has not been able to do so. So he is at 1 city where I'm currently at 2. He is at 2 technologies where I'm currently at 3. I haven't seen anything down here, but I know he doesn't have workers yet, and I'm improving my tiles. All of this is a really, really great advantage. This guy, unless he goes to war with me or I do something colossally stupid, will probably never be able to have any chance of beating me in this game. And it's already turn 28, and he's no longer a threat. Alright, so at this point hopefully you have a lot of good reasons as to why we are not going to play on the settler difficulty, despite the fact that it clearly says it is for learning the game. Instead, we are going to up our difficulty all the way down to King. I was debating even sending it on Emperor, but maybe Emperor is a little bit harder, and I think King is probably the baseline, despite the fact that it says hard. So now that we have selected the difficulty, the question is, where are we going to go from here? Now, we are going to remove Shaka from our list of players that we want to play for the time being, and I think what we're going to do is scroll down to good old Nebuchadnezzar and take the Babylonians. The reason being, as you can see here, they get a free Great Scientist when you discover writing, and they earn Great Scientist 50% faster. They also get this Bowman thing, which we'll talk about later, as well as Walls of Babylon, which we'll probably not be building. Now, the reason why we are going to go with Great Scientist is because we are going to start off with a scientific victory in mind. Now, the reason for that is actually quite simple. You see, it doesn't really matter if you want to go and do a cultural game, or if you want maybe just like really kick-ass religion, or if you want to go boot stomping. If you do not know how to research the text you are going to need in order to accomplish those things, it's not going to matter very much. So making certain that you've got great science per turn, making sure you can unlock those texts that you're looking for, will greatly aid you in being able to do things later on and playing in different styles of play. So I think making sure we all know how to play a science game is probably the basics for learning how to play Civ 5. Alright, so here we are in game. We start off with a warrior unit and a settler unit. Settler unit is obviously going to be the one that we use to found our city, and the warrior is going to be our initial scout and deals with any little unfriendlies that happen to be roaming around our area. Do not worry, there will not be very many of them. Now, in the beginning, normally what you would want to do is you would want to take your little warrior unit and look as much as you can in one turn of what's around you to decide where you are going to want to settle. Right now, I am not going to do that because I think that's a little bit maybe sort of just a bit beyond the scope of a new person coming into the game, and it's fairly easy to screw yourself by moving yourself accidentally and just completely shooting your early game in the foot if you're not sure where you really want to move yourself to because you haven't played yet, you're not really sure what's important. So that can be a bit of a hassle, so we're not going to do it. So I don't care what's around me right now. I'm settling on spot no matter what it gave me. That's just what I decided to do. Now I do want to point out the only conditions against this are maybe you settle and do you see how there's these tile here and here? They have two food sources. Let's zoom in. They have two food sources and a hammer. They have two food sources and a hammer. If you are surrounded only by things with one food source and you do not have any double food sources, you may want to consider regaming because it will take your city a while to grow. If you find yourself, let's say, completely surrounded by desert, you might find that if it doesn't have floodplain wheat, or if it doesn't have floodplain, for example. If you find yourself in tundra or snow, you might find that. And at that point, it's okay, just go ahead and regame, because even though you can make a game out of that, if you're new to the game, maybe that's a little bit too much for you to handle just right at this moment. So who cares? Just go ahead and redo it. So alright, I settled on place, and I can see, it's a little bit confusing. I see I've got deer next to me, which will be for some extra food. I have the two luxury resources, which are quite normal here, which will be good for later on. I also have furs. It's also good to note that I will need trapping to harness all of this, so it's a good thing to be aware of. I'm going to start working on a scout after verifying under citizen management that I am working the tile with 2 food and 1 hammer. If this was, for example, not here, hello, there we go. If this was over here, for example, and I was only working 1 food with 1 hammer, I could see that it would take 22 turns to actually get a citizen compared to the 11 turns that it will take me now. So it's twice as long. That's a really, really huge delay. We want to make sure that we're not going to do that. Now, I'm starting out with Scout for a couple of reasons. There are ruins around us. They are ruins in every single game. I want to go and get those as quickly as possible. I cannot make a settler because I don't have 2 citizens yet, so it's completely impossible to do that. I also don't really need a warrior for the simple reason that I see nothing around me that I need a warrior for. You can think of a warrior as an offensive unit. You can think of a warrior as a gun. I do not think that a warrior is a good choice right now because, like a gun, you only point a gun at something that you don't want alive anymore. And there's nothing around me that I don't want alive. There are no threats. I also don't need to be defended right now because my city can take care of itself. So that eliminates that as a possibility. So we can't do settler, we can't do worker or warrior. Worker we're not going to do. That's 21 turns. That's the difference between creating both a warrior and a monument, for example, if we were to do such a thing, or a scout and a warrior and working on something else. So that's a really huge investment. We don't really want to do that right yet. You can't make the argument for monument, but if you can make the argument for monument, then you probably are beyond the scope of this tutorial and you can do whatever you want. But for the moment, we're going to do a scout, and this little guy is going to... eeny, meeny... it looks like there's area over here, so I'm going to try to shoot over here and then kind of go up and around, and then this guy will go near him and go down. We're also going to open up pottery. I don't care what's around you, we're going to open up pottery. This gives us the ability to make a shrine in the near future. And it also opens up... hello. It also opens up this tier of tech, and if we get a ruin that gives us a free tech, maybe we'll get one of these. That'd be really, really great. Save 26 turns. And then over here, hello! These are what we're looking for, our very first ruin. This will give us something, hopefully something very, very cool. Now, I am using the enhanced user interface simply because the default UI to the game is a little bit clunky. The enhanced user interface gives me information a bit faster and kind of groups everything together where I would want to look at it. The download for that is in the link down below. I definitely suggest you pick it up. Alright, so we got the ruin and we got weapons. That right there is amazing because these guys are now spearmen. So that's the equivalent of researching mining, researching bronze working, and then buying or training a spearman. Pretty good, pretty good. This is why we scout first, and why we're also building a full-fledged scout, so we continue doing cool things like this. And look at that, there is our second one. We are doing fairly well now. We get one population. That's really, really great. Now you can see Babylon is at 2 population, and we are working both food tiles, so we're continuing to grow. Excellent, excellent, excellent. But alright, our scout's done. We're going to work on a monument, because a monument will unlock the ability to choose a social policy, which we will talk about more in a minute. Hit him once, hit him twice, hit him chicken noodle soup with rice. Wait, what? Ooh. Another ruin there, nice. If we didn't scout, let's say we did not scout, we went and made a worker first, which we would still be working on. If we're near another civilization, they might have gotten the upgrade for their whatever they're scouting with, their warrior. Maybe they're a spearman now. Maybe they would have gotten that +1 population. And that would take a lot of turns that you could have, you know, shaved off of what you were doing. This is why we do these things. If this guy gets this, which he is, he pays for himself. Okay, well, that actually kind of sucks. Map of the surrounding area. Yuck. Hello. Oh, maybe something over here. Right now we're scouting for ruins and a potential second city location. Yeah. If this extends a little bit more, maybe another resource, maybe a couple of hill tiles, this would be a great place for a city as well. Hit me. Animal husbandry.
When he treadeth up.
That's actually really, really amazing, because keep in mind we need trapping to use these luxury resources. However, trapping comes after animal husbandry, and we just got that. Think about that. Think about that. This is why we scout. We just saved ourselves 13 turns not having to actually research animal husbandry for ourselves. You see how this works?
Shall the clay.
Alright, so we got pottery. Now, I would normally say we need to figure out what our luxury resources require, but we're already pretty close to that with animal husbandry, and I don't really want to do calendar or writing just yet. I'm thinking about defenses, despite the fact that, you know, we haven't seen anything to defend ourselves against, but surely barbarian camp's gotta be here, right? Somewhere? Hello. There's one. There will be others. Anywhere in the darkness, a barbarian encampment can appear. Ooh, has been found. Now, interesting about natural wonders is they give us 1 extra happiness. You can see right there. 1 from discovery of natural wonders. Each natural wonders makes your citizens happier. Don't really know why. But we don't get the benefit of that, which is 2 food and 6 faith, unless we settle near it and work the tile. We found culture. Dot policy. I'm going to actually look at this and see, can I get an ideology? No, I cannot, because we are not ready for that. Can I get anything else on the bottom? Nope, I cannot, because they are all locked. Patronage also locked. All of these are locked. All we can do is tradition, liberty, honor, or piety. And we're going to ignore honor because that's boot stomping. We don't want to do that. We're going science. And we're not really interested in religion right now, so we are not going to do piety either. We're interested in a nice, well-rounded game that you can pretty much use for anything that we're going to use for science. So that's tradition or liberty. And I already chose tradition when I thought about this little tutorial. So we're going to adopt it. Liberty is probably the better choice, simply because they get a free great person once you complete the tree, and that can be a great scientist. And since we're being sciencey, that makes sense. But tradition's good all around, so we are going to go with that instead. If you know why you should choose liberty over tradition, you can go ahead and do so. Your game will be a little bit different than mine. You'll have to make your culture buildings, for example. We're going to get a free one in our first 4 cities. We're going to have a little bit faster growth in our capital. But you, on the other hand, will be able to get a free worker and a free settler. Most people think that liberty is probably the superior choice nowadays because of that. Adopt a policy. Let's go grab oligarchy, because we're going to go down to legalism, landed elite, and monarchy. Those are the important ones in this particular tree. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Oh, that is so risky. If I go back here looking for an extra... he might die if I do that. That could be so bad. Moving him up here where there's a barbarian on my heels. I'm going to sit here for a turn and heal, and if I see the barbarian come at me, we're leaving. I got archery. Normally I'd be wanting to purchase an archer shortly, but I can't. We will pick up trapping, I think, instead. No, I'll grab writing first. I'll grab writing and then trapping. Okay, we're gone. Shrine's almost done. Shrine is done. I don't want to work on that. I'm going to work on a bowman first. 2 turns until border growth. I hate this part of the gambling system of this game. Like, if 2 turns, it grows into this tile with the 2 food, I'll be absolutely happy. But if it grows into this tile, I will not be. So this choice right now is 75 gold. I'm going to wait and see if it grows into this tile. If it grows into this one, it'll be a waste of 2 turns, which is kind of annoying. But, I mean, that's just a gamble, right? There's nothing I can do about that. That's just the way it rolls. He doesn't matter. He cannot take our city, so he's irrelevant. I will kind of sit here and chill, though. I don't want to get too close to him. Because I think there's probably a camp over here somewhere. We're actually going to hunt for it. Okay, good, it grew. Nice. Excellent. And now it's 20 turns until growth. Alright. Now that he's over here, you can see that we can target him with our city. That's why I said that we don't have to worry about our city just yet. We can go bang. Not dead yet, But, you know, he felt that one. Now, despite our setbacks, I do want to point out that Boudica only has 2 population where we have 3. We're tied for tech, so we're doing okay for the moment. Can't shoot over there, they can only shoot 1 distance. I think we're okay. I'll leave you be. We can defend our worker, so we are actually going to begin making a worker now. We're not going to work on our settler until we have 4 population. Until then, we're not going to touch the settler. But we do have a bit of a food problem, so I'm not going to do granary. I'm going to work on getting some of these tiles up into a better position to sustain our people. Now, unfortunately, one downside to this difficulty is the fact that I do have a scout and a spearman pretty close. They might even be respecting our bowmen, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They do. They even consider our bowmen to be a threat. I can actually go and ask for tribute to demand money from them. I'm not going to do it. But they are afraid of us right now.
He who destroys a good book kills reason itself.
Alright, we got writing. I completely forgot that that gave us a great scientist. That's how good I am at this game. I completely spaced that I'm the Babylonian somehow. So what that does is I could bulb a technology, which is the worst idea right now that I could possibly come up with. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to make an academy where we have the ability to, and that'll give us 8 science per turn if we work that tile. I'm really considering putting an academy there, but the problem is the 2 food is actually a very, very large investment right now. So I think we are going to actually put it on this, despite the fact that food is a little bit of an issue. It's not what I really want to see, but we can get food from this. We'll get food from here, which we're growing into very, very shortly. We can get some food from there. This doesn't have a hammer tile. And we can start getting our science immediately. I think I am going to put it on the grassland tile instead. We put an academy on that tile, which jumps us to 14 science per turn, which is absolutely amazing. Keep in mind, oh, I can't really show you. So this is my science per turn. We have 8 from terrain, which is our academy. But before that, we had 3 from buildings and 3 from population for a total of 6. We went from 6 to 14 science. That is very, very nice. There's no other way to do that this early in the game. Anyway, we grew up to 4, so we're going to start our settler because we're a little bit behind on that because of the little problem that we had with our food for a while there. You can see that the Celts actually have 4. Actually, they don't. What? The Celts only have 2 populations still. I don't know what their city is like, but they have no food. This is the situation that I was just warning all of you guys about, I think. They are essentially staring at this scenario, where they were only working at 1 food and 1 hammer tile, I guess, because they're half our population. We haven't done anything special to get more population. Anyway, we can't starve right now while we're making our settler. So we're going to put all of these guys on hammers, which we have none. Oh, jumping Jesus. 18 turns, best we can do, seriously? No. Those extra 2 turns matter to me, man. They do, they really, really do. Alright, I bought it. I don't like that I bought it, but I bought it. So we have 18 there, 16 there. So we went from 20 to 16 turns, which isn't terrible. Might as well make some gold while we're doing this, I guess, huh? Switch on over to gold focus on those 2 tiles while we get those ones up. Looks like it's the best we can do. 16 turns for our guy. And then we'll have him escort. So regretfully, you can see that when barbarians come into your lands, if you cannot fight them off, they can do annoying things such as pillage your tiles. This little guy appeared out of the darkness and pillaged a tile before I could get there, sadly. So, I mean, he came from like here to here, and I just wasn't able to do it. So it's kind of annoying. Our science drops as a result. But we've got a worker in 3 after this guy in 6, so we'll be able to repair it fairly shortly. We are settling a new city, so I will go actually and pick up monarchy. We'll go up to 6 happiness. Our guy is done, so we need to change all of our focuses. We don't need that anymore. We need food again. That'd be you. We don't need you anymore. We need you. And maybe not you, we need you. 65 turns. Owie. Certainly a lot. 33 turns is more manageable. 5 turns for a worker. I am actually going to go and get this worker in 4 instead of 5. Nah, I won't. Alright, so we're going to go here, and we're going to go here, and then we're together going to go over that way. And settle right next to our friends in Edinburgh. We have to hit him, unfortunately. Pantheon's a problem. I'm not really sure what Pantheon to take. Because we've got this, which is good for what is it? For camps. Pantheon's a hard choice. I will say, if you're not really sure what to pick, you could always go for... No, you can't. It's been taken. Well, I was going to say something you can go ahead and grab, but apparently someone else took it. Rude. I was going to say God King is always useful because it gives you like one of everything, which is not bad. But generally you want to try to match what resources are around you to your choices. So let's say I was on the river and there were like 5 fishing tiles here. I'd be like, okay, maybe taking, God of the Sea is great then, because there's so many fishing tiles out there. Or maybe I'm near jungle, so I might want to take Sacred Path to get culture from jungle. Right now, unfortunately, not a whole lot of things to be interested in. I may take fertility rights just for growth, because I'm not seeing anything of interest. Alright, so what I've done here is I've sat here staring at everything that I was contemplating doing, and the location of Edinburgh. I do not want to actually piss off the Celtic people, and if I settle over here, our border will be touching, they will be pissed. And I keep looking back down at Uluru. I know this is not a faith-based game, this is science, but Uluru counts as a mountain, which is going to be useful later on. I don't get the river tile, which is an annoyance, a huge annoyance. I would get ivory and cacao if I settle here. I would also get potential wheat source. I would get sheep, so we would get horses, ivory, sheep. We would get 1 source of wheat. And we would also get that cacao tile. So rather than go there, I think I'm going to make a city here, and I'm going to make the city here. Which then also tells me that we're giving up a few of our camps. So Goddess of the Hunt might not be a good idea. And instead, maybe I should go for Desert Folklore after all. I will go for Desert Folklore. Alright, so now we are in position. We will go ahead and found a city here. You can see it's suggesting it to go over there, but that is such a huge frigging distance. Oh my god. I don't want my city to be that spread out, because that makes them harder to defend. So what we will do is we will actually settle on place here. We don't have everything that we could possibly want, but it's not too bad. The city-state will be slightly irritating us, but what can you do about that? At least we're getting a really cool spot. Only thing I could possibly consider is maybe settling up here instead to get the extra ivory, but then we lose that tile. That's very, very valuable. I do not want to lose that tile. So I'm not going to lose that tile. Thank you very much. And I want to stay as far away from them as possible so they don't consider me a giant dick. So I will settle here. Now you can see that we are going to have a slight problem with food because there's a significant lack of food tiles here, but that is actually quite okay. All I got to do is be able to buy 2, so I need to kill some guys and get some more money. That shouldn't be too difficult. I can shoot him once. I can shoot... No, I won't shoot him right now. I'm actually going to hold. But alright. So that right there, you can see we have our first 2 cities built. We are 77 turns into the game, and if you've done everything correctly, then you shouldn't be behind. As we can see here, we are currently top of the score. We've got 5 populations, so do they, because they've been able to work on their stuff now, finally. Thank you very much for that. We've got our 2 cities. We are not behind in any way, shape, or form. And all being said, we had a few shortcomings, but nothing too extravagant. So join me in the next episode where we continue learning how to take the early game into the mid game in Civilization V: Brave New World.